Welcome to the CANA Connection Podcast. On today's podcast, our president and host, Rob Cranston, is going to be talking to Senior Operations Manager Kenny McRostie and Digital Media Coordinator Kassie McRostie about the CANA Foundation and its 5 years in existence. So without further ado, let's get on to the podcast.
All right, welcome everybody. We are here again, CANA Connection Podcast, in the month of August 2022. It's hot, but there's also something that's really hot, and it's been hot for the past 5 years, and that's called the CANA Foundation. Today, I've got two CANAers here who they know each other pretty well. One is Kenny McRostie, who's our Senior Operations Manager, and Kassie McRostie, who is our Digital Media Coordinator. Welcome.
Thanks, Rob. Good to be here.
So we're today, and this is pretty exciting because we've had an ongoing set of initiatives around CANA Connection for the past 5 years. But actually, let me give a little bit of context before 5 years ago. Kenny and Koa and Kassie more recently has come aboard, but Kenny and Koa have been around before that time period, where we actually officially started the CANA Foundation and formalized the basic business rules and then and mission and really the vision for that moving forward into a dynamic space for us. And really, when we started looking at how to create a foundation that has purpose, we really had our members targeted and focused so that they could create their environment of give back to a community that they're currently providing give back to, but through and with perhaps the support of CANA. So when we started CANA, or when I started CANA long ago, the most important part was to establish a give back program. And you hear a lot of that in time of give back of, okay, well, give back in what context and how do you openly show the world of business and your partners and clients how you do that. And it took years to really say, okay, it makes, instead of just giving a monetary donation to it, which is important, it can be, or a matching donation to a particular nonprofit organization. How can we formalize it so that we really are committed across focused areas? The CANA is providing context, in some cases, program work, but also as well, and most importantly, that back to the members' vision and part of their world of being part of their own nonprofits. So that being said, that's the history. And then the great Kenny McRostie here and I, we, for many different iterations, had talked about, hey, what categories and where do we want to focus really the foundation charter, and then bringing in our CEO, Liz Cranston, and now COO, Norm Ryder. We have a team at executive level that's part of the decision making and development with Kenny, who runs the program. So that being said, let me throw it over to Kenny now, who most importantly, within the foundation itself, runs our program and really has designed and did just an awesome job of getting us in a position where we've professionalized the program. So Kenny, over to you. Talk about your background, and which is really interesting in itself, both that background of yours in mission trips and missionary type of part of family that carried forward, I think, a little bit into how you wanted to create the CANA Foundation foundation itself.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Rob. And I guess I'll do the way back. So when I was a young lad, growing up in on the mission field with where my parents were missionaries in Morocco, I saw a lot of give back. Obviously being missionaries, that's it was in addition to their work, the Lord's work, if you will. There's a lot of charitable mission type work, just giving of themselves. And so I had an example, certainly growing up in that environment with my parents. And and that carried on into the years, and I think it, became a part of who I am as well. Then fast forward, I joined the Marine Corps out of college, and served in the Marine Corps for 30 years. Just recently retired out of the reserves, Marine Corps Reserves, at the end of 2021. So it's still very fresh, but had a lot of experiences that again shaped who I am today and where I'm at, and leadership being one of those, and part of leadership, or for me at least, is servant leadership. And I think that ties in nicely with the foundation, and just being a servant to others, and you do that by, one of the ways you can do that is by giving back, certainly. So when I came aboard CANA, and Rob and Liz hired me back at the end of 2014. CANA Foundation was conceptual, if you will. It wasn't a formal program or thing that we had, other than we did a few things here and there. We had a few one-offs with some of the employees. We were a company of 10 or 15 back in those days, and then over time, we talked about it more, developed it more, and pointed towards January 1st, 2017, when we formally launched the foundation. So that was a pretty neat thing to be able to be a part of, drafting the charter and taking Rob's and Liz's vision from way back pre-2008, before they even started CANA, and helping form that into, putting it on paper, if you will, and launching it within the company. As Rob said, I mean, give back it's the give back mechanism of the company. It gives another dimension to the passions, the skills, the experiences that all the employees in CANA have, and being able to take those and as day in and day out, we produce good work that makes money for CANA, but CANA Foundation is different. It takes all those same skill sets and those experiences and passions, and it becomes something that we can share with others and help others, and just come alongside other people in our different communities. And those are physical communities where we live. As don't know if you mentioned that, but we're a virtual company, so we're spread out across many time zones and many locations. So it's those physical locations, but it's also all the virtual communities that we live and work in every day as well. So it's been really exciting. We focused on, I think, last thing I want to say about this, when we started, we wanted to have focus areas, so provide some level of focus, for lack of a better word, where we wanted to put our efforts. And so we designated 5 focus areas that all of our give back falls into. So the first one is one that's obviously very near and dear to Rob and myself and many others in CANA, and that's advancing veteran support and activities. We both come obviously out of the military, and we have many in CANA who are retired or former military, or have worked as civilians many years in and around the military. So that's very important. Then advancing health and wellness. We'll get into one of the things we're doing with the 5 years of CANA Foundation celebration that's attached to that.
Which is incredible.
So
awesome.
Pretty cool. Advancing civic duty and education. I think just being good citizens and educating ourselves and others, on how we are good citizens and how we just become an important part of our communities. Advancing community planning and strategy. So maybe kind of taking that to the next level. Just how do we specifically improve, the neighborhoods, the cities, the states, that we live in, and then advancing environmental sustainment. I think that's certainly important that we take care of the environments we live in, whether that's the physical environment, nature. But I think that can also expand out a little bit beyond that. And you'll notice that these are deliberately broad. I've often said that when we get initiative nominations that, we haven't had to turn one down because it doesn't fit into one of our focus areas. Let's put it that way.
Right.
They cover a very wide range, and we want it to be so that we can make sure we are able to give back in many, many different areas. So.
It's well said. Thank you, good sir. I tell you, speaking of initiative areas, so let's talk about the initiative areas and really how does a CANAer apply for one of those potential. And by the way, we do this quarterly, so it's kind of cool. It's a neat rotation throughout the quarters. But talk us through the initiative and what a CANAer does to initiate a proposal.
Sure. So quarterly, and I'll admit sometimes we've skipped a quarter here and there, but the goal is quarterly to put out a call for nominations, and it usually comes in the form of an email from me, and kind of lay out, hey, here's the template, the form, to fill out with the different pieces that your initiative nomination needs to have. A due date, the typical things like that. So I'll put that call out to the whole company, and then I guess kind of sit back and wait. I'll usually throw out a few reminders to folks. I know everybody's working hard, on other work, and sometimes it's just everybody needs a little reminder. So, and one of the things I always do, I really encourage people to reach out to me one-on-one if they have questions, because that seems to be a common question, like, hey, I was thinking about this, but not sure if it really fit in, if it's really something that's initiative worthy or, would fit in that. And having those one-on-one conversations is really helpful for a lot of our employees who've come forward with one, because I can either help them reshape it a little bit to make it fit in, or most of the time it's completely within the scope of what we want to do.
How many initiatives have we've had? I mean, we're up north of 15 plus, maybe more. I mean,
more than, let's see, I'm looking at our tracker right now, so
I think I might have been benefited of most of this 15.
well, it's funny. I'm gonna get to you in a moment.
Believe it or not, Rob, we've had 49.
49?
49
That's amazing.
Proposed.
Holy cow. That is awesome.
Since
God,
January 2017.
Oh, man.
And honestly, I don't know the exact number, but probably only 5 or so we've had to turn down, for whatever reason. Some of them just because of circumstances didn't work out or whatever. But I mean, so it's significant. Our best year, the most we had was actually last year in 2021. We had 13 initiative nominations.
Gosh, maybe that's what I'll tell you what. I know they keep coming. Let's do this. And as Koa just mentioned, a recipient of being part of the program. Koa, give us a little perspective and kind of interact with Kenny on this, right? Of how you went through the process, and then actually your initiative itself.
Oh, as I kind of rattled, said jokingly, I've been a part of a handful of them early on too. Maybe not one of the earliest ones before the CANA Foundation actually had the moniker of CANA Foundation and everything like that. But once it was its own thing, I think I was one of the first ones to reach out to it. And it was in one of our cars or something like that was the first time it was mentioned. Our CANA Car is a thing we have monthly for the listeners or watchers. It's a CANA analytics roundtable or anything. Basically, it's just this company like brain dump where people give short presentations over the course of 45 minutes and stuff, and just tell people some cool stuff. And one of the cool things that was told to us was about the CANA Foundation. And at the time, I worked closely with the local community arts center here where I live. I'm up in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, and I'm an artist, as these guys know, but I'm the graphic designer, graphic artist for CANA, but I'm also an illustrator by nature. So I work alongside with the community arts center here, and they're always asking me to do stuff, or I'm always volunteering to do stuff with them. And I think one of the first things that I did with the CANA Foundation through to help them out was we did a how to draw or how to make a comic book. How to go through that process.
Exactly. Yep.
And the CANA Foundation was generous enough to allow me some time to develop the little workshop for the day, and provided materials for the community arts center to give out to the people that signed up for it. Mostly was younger people and children, but there were some adults that came to the how to create a comic book thing. We went through the whole process of how to do a cover and a bunch of other stuff. And then some of the other initiatives that I think all the ones that I've been involved with directly were in that community art thing, because I'm always about creativity and helping to, I think the arts help people, just cope with lots of stuff and just do all kinds of things. And it's been some stuff like that. Like, I know that the CANA Foundation has helped them with their laser cutting program. They had got some glow forges over there, and they needed some people to help teach some classes. I'm all about technology and doing artistic stuff with lasers, so I did some stuff there. And then there was a outreach to the local one of the local high schools here. They wanted
and elementary school.
And elementary school, yeah. It was both the Richland High School and Richland Elementary School, and actually the Richland High School is both their junior high and senior high all together and everything like that. And I did a day where I went up with them and I did an art thing with them on how to draw creatively. And then I also went, after I finished with the high school, went over to the elementary school and worked with those kids for the last part of the day. And it was good fun. We drew Baby Yoda at the elementary school, and at the high school we drew Groot from the Guardians of the Galaxy in a big comic book format. And then through them, they worked with the CANA Foundation and also provided funds or donation to the Community Arts Center for doing that. So it's all my stuff's been art based, but those are the things that I did. And like I said, it was easy for me because it was one of the first ones under the CANA Foundation. And then every year that it comes around, that I think that I can get myself on the list with something that's coming around that is going to be fun, and that I can ask the foundation to help out with. It's always worked out so far, and they're always really appreciative of the CANA Foundation helping out with that kind of stuff. But that's been my experiences with it. So my experience has been pretty easy because I have pretty direct access to Kenny a lot of times. So. Yeah. And he's very helpful with helping me write up the actual foundation proposal, because as everybody knows, my talents do not lie in paperwork, but lie in making graphics. So that's my experience. And I've helped out a couple other CANAers and previous CANAers with their CANA Foundation efforts. Jackie Knapp, who also lives up in this area, is one of our people, and she's involved with Camp Park. And I think Camp Park benefits a little bit from the CANA Foundation. Mm-hmm. And I've gone out to help them once or twice over the past few years with stuff. Her daughter used to be a CANAer and was also involved in the Camp Park stuff. And I don't know as much about that. It's a summer camp that helps less privileged kids or underdeveloped, whatever, or people that just want to send them off to this retreat for, learning how to be a good person. And just having good camp fun and stuff like that. I would only go out for a day to help out with something, and that was it.
Yeah.
But that's my experience with it. It's been very easy. Kenny makes it very easy with his notifications and then hand holding to make sure he gets stuff submitted correctly.
That's a great example of me working, obviously I think you've done one almost every single year, at least one, that we've been in existence, COA. And, but that's a great example of working with you to kind of shape it a little bit, maybe, tweak your nomination form. And then, and just to carry on kind of the process, Rob, once we get those nomination forms in, from everybody, I'll package those up. I'll put a summary of those in a slide presentation, and those will be presented to the executive board, which consists of you and Liz and Norm. And we didn't do this to start. Initially, I would present all the initiatives, regardless of where they came from. The board.
Right.
And as you should, I mean, you all have questions for the initiative proposers, and instead of me constantly having to be the go-between, if I didn't know the answer, I would have to say, I'll have to get back with you. So then we realized it probably makes a lot more sense to have the actual proposers or nominators come onto the meeting and actually present their initiatives directly to the board.
Right.
And that's been great because you have that interaction with the CANA employee, and then and then the board votes on the initiatives, and it goes from there. So that's pretty much.
I don't think we've ever not voted yes. I think if we had to vote, I was thinking, I think I was talking to both Norm and Liz about this. I'm like, it would be something that would be astronomical type of like matching.
Yeah.
that we just couldn't achieve. I mean, right?
Right. I think that if I look back at the ones that were not approved, they were ones where the ask was, from a funding perspective, was way exceeded.
Yeah. I correct myself. I guess we did do that.
Yeah. Or there was some that, we realized that maybe, might have been something like joining an association or something.
Oh, right.
It was more appropriate for, going on an operational level as opposed to the foundation. So, but very, very few have been denied. As I said earlier, the categories are pretty broad, and I've been able to work to shape those to meet the intent for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, anything that was that's one of those things you help out with, Kenny, is like you'll say like, hey, this is to get this approved, or like to make it more likely, the likelihood of it, being actually, get the thumbs up is like, price adjustments, or just, your time, or like, your curb your expectations, or, here's what you should probably ask for this. This is going to be, this is going to be doable. What's not going to be doable, that type of thing. Because we are not a charity organization working for charity, like that's our main function or anything like that. And these are all side gigs that all of our people are doing. But I will say, like, all the CANA Foundation stuff that goes on, like I said, my stuff's all art and like reaching out to the community through art stuff. But like everybody's stuff that they get involved in, it's the CANA Foundation. Like, you could look at a list of the stuff that we've done, and it's all or been involved with. And our people are generally involved in really cool stuff. Like, not just cool, like just they're cool events, but they fit the person.
Tremendously purposeful.
I can think, like our good security guy Kurt and everything like that, and all his IT expertise. But he's a big Jeep fanatic, and but his foundation efforts go along with the John's Mission for 22, which is this Jeep off-roading event, but also supports, veterans that are dealing with, issues and everything like that. And it fits, and it's a good community to be involved in. And that could be said for all the outreach. All the outreaches have been, stuff you can easily stand behind and say, like, hey, we're proud to be involved with this. You know what I mean? I would think, it's like all stuff that, nothing's questionable, and nobody asks for anything weird, at least not yet. And I don't know, Kenny, have you been involved? I know you're CANA Foundation involved, but have you had any CANA like foundation efforts that you've been involved with that have been a benefit of the thing?
Yeah, actually, I was one of the first ones. I don't know if that was because I was trying to get the ball rolling or
It's an awesome one too.
yeah,
Tell us about that one.
yeah. So, I mean, one of my passions is again, it's shaped certainly out of my time in the Marine Corps, but just being a mentor, particularly to young men. Um, as they come up in life and I've experienced a lot, so I feel like I probably have something to offer. And there's a local foundation actually in the city of Wilmington where I live, called Schreiber Foundation. And they basically bring young men into their program in middle school, and they make a commitment to stick with that young boy who all the way through high school until they graduate, and to get them into college. And many of these young men are from single parent homes, broken homes. They've had various challenges growing up, so many of them don't have a father in their life. So it was an opportunity for me. CANA Foundation provided some funding specifically to go towards the tutorship aspect of the Camp Schreiber Foundation. They work with these young men throughout the year, tutoring, helping them in school. They provide physical activities, and then once a year it culminates, and they actually go to a Camp Schreiber, which is the company that this Camp Foundation falls under owns an island on a lake up in Canada. Small island, but they take all these boys up there once a year, and just they camp, they fish, they canoe, they do all kinds of cool stuff. So it was just great to be a part of that. I got to know some of the young men, this was back in 2017, and actually last year, a couple of the young men that I got to know graduated from college, and I mean, they're doing amazing things. I mean, some of them were first ones in their family to ever go to college and finish. And so it was a real privilege to be a part of that, and not only helping them out financially, but certainly being able to, more importantly, getting to know these young men and being able to help them out.
Well,
That's
again,
awesome.
going back to just purpose, the foundation itself being able to, and you're right, that was a catalyst. I think once that, because, like any program, and by the way, for those out there listening to this, so CANA Foundation is part of the CANA Organization of Give Back. It's not a nonprofit 501c3. I think Koa kind of alluded to that, but and that's an important distinction. And so the recognition is that, but it's also recognition that we could partner with other foundations out there, and we've looked at that in different ways. In other words, if there's some member who decides that, hey, we've got another foundation that I'm working, or another foundation that we're working with, and there might be other initiatives within that foundation that we expand on in those 5 particular buckets that we have in concentration focus. So I know that's the future for us, but wait, before I get there, we're in celebration right now of the 5YOCF, which inside the CANA umbrella, folks, we've got folks that are competing big time. 5 years of CANA Foundation. That's what that means. Miss Kassie McRostie, tell us about this ongoing program. I say it's an initiative, but celebration for 5 years of CANA Foundation.
Well, as the digital media coordinator, I got brought this initiative to kind of celebrate the 5 years. Of course, I have not been around here for 5 years. I've only been like 2.5. But we kind of wanted to celebrate, 5 years of this ongoing great thing that's happened. And our main focus is to get our team involved. And, because we've brought on many new people in the past even year, and, they don't technically know a lot about it, but So we kind of created this internal initiative to kind of get the awareness out to the rest of the team, but it also overflows externally to, the rest of the world. But we're doing this thing called 5 for 5. So 5 years of the CANA Foundation, but we're doing 5Ks, and we've had our team, they've gotten to run a 5K, they can bike, swim, whichever, but for every 5K they do, they get put in like a hat, basically. And at the end of this initiative, we're going to draw some names and kind of give back to their foundations that they're running, swimming, biking for. We've had it for June and July now. We've been doing it, and I think we're almost like over 700. Co, you're going to have to help.
I know we've got some metrics on
Yeah.
it.
I haven't updated it for this most current week because there's been a lot ever since last week when I put the latest update up there. Like, hey, we're coming to the end of the summer and the end of the 5 for 5 5Ks. Put your information in the spreadsheet, put the pictures in the chat thread and everything like that. And there's been a lot of traffic in the past week, and for other things that are going on, I've been busy, so I haven't been able to go in there and update the log to the most recent stuff. But I can tell you where we were at the beginning of last week, which I think we've blown past what we had at the beginning of last week.
Which is the end of July.
Which is the end of July, yeah. What I posted at the beginning of last week would have been what was for the previous week and everything like that. But our totals are, drum roll, if you will. Let's see. We've had over 145Ks as of the beginning of last week that have been run. And most people go further than 5K. Most people are running 5 miles or something like that, or walking 5 miles, not doing 3.1 for a 5K or something like that, which is, well over 700 kilometers of distance that we've traveled as a team. And for those out there, CANA is not a huge organization. We're not a huge company by any means. So getting I'm guessing right now that we're probably edging a lot closer to 1,000 kilometers that we've covered total. And I know, Rob, you and Liz have to put your information in, and you were very avid.
Rob's coming off the IR. Don't worry, it's coming. I just want to say to Kassie, I mean, what an awesome initiative. I mean, what a way to really celebrate, but also, again, it ties back in the thread of give back that each member. So for our audience out there, so what happens inside we have a Google chat, and within that we post the particulars of each 5K. So each 5K is donated to that and is mentioned by that CANA member of where they're donating or where they would donate. So,
and I think,
go ahead, Kassie.
I think,
sorry.
Like, one of the coolest parts is you get to see all the different, why people are running, like who they're running for, or swimming, whatever, who they're doing it for. And so, like, some things that I like, foundations or organizations that I didn't even know about, now I know, and I'm like, okay, I understand. And then the people in the company, you're like, okay, that like makes sense why they're doing that for that. And it kind of makes you want to look even deeper into who they're doing their 5K for. And I think that goes back to even just like the foundation in general. Like, yes, we get to connect as a team, but also that's like the purpose of the foundation, is to connect to the outside. And even, you can donate money all day long to whoever, but I think the real impact of it is getting to connect with those people. Even in the business world, connection is currency, but I think even connection is currency in your life, not just, for money, like physical money and stuff like that. But I mean, that's, I feel like, why we're here, so we can connect and we can make each other better and, realize, why we're doing what we're doing. I think that's really cool. Like, just internally, I can't wait to share that externally. Well, we are here, but, on social media and all that stuff. So, you never know who's going to be like, oh, wow, like, you're running that 5K for that. Like, that's something I'm interested in too. Like, I want to do the same thing. And then it's just like a ripple effect, and just trying to make the world a better place. So
Yeah, I'll be honest. I
You're
was
here.
surprised at the level of activity. I mean, it just went through the roof from day one.
Yeah.
CANA is just like, I mean, we've had everything from swimming a 5K to hiking to biking to,
That's
you
right.
know,
Yeah.
I mean, you name
Any
it.
way you can get your 5K.
That's right.
Yeah.
And people have
And
been
some people have
competitive.
I know,
some
right?
people have switched it up. Like they've done multiple 5Ks and they've picked different charities that they're like going to help support or
Mhm.
looking to help support and everything like that. So like Jerome is one of those people he's done a couple different ones. He's like, this one's for this one's for this one's for this. I think
Mhm.
Brian might have done the
Yes.
same thing a couple times. But yeah, multiple CANAers have picked, you know, a couple things. I need to do more 5Ks. I got to get at least one or two more in before the end of summer here.
I know, right?
I got to figure out some way to draw and run at the same time.
Yes, sir. Well, let's close it up with this with our CANA Foundation manager, Kenny McRostie. What, when you see, as we've not just planted this seed, we've really watered it, and that seed being this CANA Foundation growth internally. What kind of vision do you see for the future of the CANA Foundation?
You talked about partnerships earlier, and we've kind of gone down some roads with some different, seeing the partnering with other organizations, and some of none of them have been formal partnerships. They've been maybe
right,
a little bit more informal, but we've had a couple initiatives tied to different organizations that have gone on a couple years. So I mean, I think that's one aspect that I think we'll get to someday, but one of the things we keep coming back to is just providing this, enabling a platform, a means for our CANA family, our employees to be able to do stuff. I mean, a lot of us have personal things, whether it's charitable organizations or things that we do or different passions. And this is, I think the CANA Foundation just offers another way for those those things to come out, and so I really think that's going to develop more. And then we've talked about this before. I mean, who knows? Maybe someday CANA Foundation will become its own separate entity. That's truly a nonprofit organization and not just under the CANA LLC umbrella. That'll enable a lot of different things if it ever gets to that point. But I think just continuing to, take everybody who's in the company, in the family here in CANA, and enabling them, and just, not only individually, but then corporately, we give back. I mean, it's just amazing to see. I mean, we don't have time to run through all of them, but we've had, just as, ones like Koa was talking about, but we've had ones that have started as professional, more technical professional type initiatives. And they started out as an initiative through the foundation and then have turned into, actual projects, revenue driving projects within the company. But still with that flavor of give back, even when they've turned to actual, revenue things for the company. So I think most importantly, my vision and the way I see it is just continuing to expand, the ways we can come alongside the CANA family and CANA employees and encourage them and enable them to be able to do more and to give back. I mean, I think the partnerships will come on their own in time when it's appropriate, whether those are more formal or informal. But it's just been a real honor for me to be able to manage this for the company and to be able to kind of help shepherd it along as it's continued to grow. And I'm always surprised at the initiatives that people come up with, even 5 years, 6.
I know, right?
So.
Well, thank you for being the face of the program, and not just that, but as Koa mentioned, and as we continue to help our members, figure out how that narrative works to for them and in their submissions, and as we continue to get to our next. I think this. Do we? Yeah, we're going into fourth quarter next, so we'll be coming up on fourth quarter submissions here. So exciting times. Let's do this again. And I think what would be really cool, we do this again, and we have probably maybe 2, 3, or a handful that we suggest of the, can't believe it, of the 49 submissions. Well, I guess that would be 45, 44 submissions.
Well, actually, no. I mean, I looked back. Those 49 are approved ones.
Approved.
We actually had over 50
Jeez,
that have been submitted in 5 years.
What a celebration.
Yeah, it'd be great to do this again, especially maybe at the end of the year after our year of celebration. Because, I mean, the 5 for 5 is just one of the things that we're doing this year to celebrate. So kind of maybe take a look back at the year and some of the other things we still got planned.
If we have folks out there that are interested to know more about the CANA Foundation, how can they reach us?
They can. We actually have a CANA Foundation page on our website, so canallc.com, and under About Us, there's a link for CANA Foundation. You can fill out the form there. You can email me. My information's on there, or give me a call. I'm happy to talk to you. Whether it's partnership idea or a way you can come alongside us as well. So yeah, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk with you or chat with you.
Thank you, good sir, for being on. That's the great Kenny McRostie, Kassie McRostie, and Koa Beam.
Yes, thank you guys. As we know, I haven't hit stop recording yet because there's always this couple little tidbits at the end that tickle the back of my brain.
Yeah.
Have you had any initiatives?
Rob Cranston has had a couple of initiatives. Actually, one initiative, and that initiative is part of a PTSD. It falls under our bucket for veteran care, and it was an initiative that had a fishing trip that we sponsored here in the Northern Virginia area. They actually went out to the Potomac, and a former Marine has a nonprofit that has fishing charters, and so we provided that. One fishing charter supported that during a weekend, and boy, what a great time they all had. And a lot of times within the PTSD community of veteran care, those that need stimulation is going through a process where they can find other interests, and part of that initiative that in that fishing trip is bringing in those veterans that are interested in that community of the fishery world. So yeah,
so that's pretty awesome. It makes me think of an idea I have that I will talk to you guys at some point about for CANA Foundation. It's been good. I enjoy every CANA Foundation thing that I've seen or touched or whatever like that. And obviously I get to do graphics for like the little posts for stuff, and sometimes, and Kassie does most of them now for the social media and everything like that. But that's it always makes you feel good when I see that stuff going out. All right. Thank you for indulging me on the last minute question and everything like that. They will probably make it into the cut in some fashion, just letting you know. But here we go. Thank you again, Kenny McRostie, Kassie McRostie, for joining Rob and I on the CANA Connection podcast today. If you would like to find more CANA Connection podcasts, head on over to our website at canallc.com. There you will find additional podcasts. You can look at our blogs and sign up for our community forums and get in contact with us at any point in time there. Remember to analyze, assess, and execute, and we'll catch you next time.